Catechism of the Catholic Church, Life in Christ, Sin. 5. The Proliferation of Sin. Number 1865. Sin creates a proclivity to sin. It engenders vice by repetition of the same acts. This results in perverse inclinations which cloud conscience and corrupt the concrete judgment of good and evil. Thus, sin tends to reproduce itself and reinforce itself, but it can't destroy the moral sense at its root. Vices can be classified according to the virtues they oppose, or also be linked to the capital sins which Christian experience has distinguished. Following Saint John Cassian and Saint Gregory the Great. They are called capital because they engender other sins, other vices. They are pride, avarice, envy, wrath, lust, gluttony, and sloth or acedia. The catechetical tradition also recalls that they are sins that cry to heaven: the blood of Abel, the sin of the Sodomites, Genesis chapter 4 and chapter 18 and 19. The cry of the people oppressed in Egypt, Exodus chapter 3. The cry of the foreigner, the widow and the orphan, Exodus chapter 20. Injustice to the wage earner, Deuteronomy chapter 24 and James chapter 5 verse 4. Sin is a personal act. Moreover, we have a responsibility for the sins committed by others when we cooperate in them, by participating directly and voluntarily in them, by ordering, advising, praising, or approving them, by not disclosing or not hindering them when we have an obligation to do so, by protecting evildoers. Thus, sin makes men accomplices of one another and causes concupiscence, violence, and injustice to reign among them. Sins give rise to social situations and institutions that are contrary to the divine goodness. Structures of sin are the expression and effect of personal sins. They lead their victims to do evil in their turn. In an analogous sense, they constitute a social sin, as said St. John Paul II. In brief, God has consigned all men to disobedience that he may have mercy upon all. Romans chapter 11 verse 32. Sin is an utterance, a deed, or a desire contrary to the eternal law, according to the words of St. Augustine. It is an offense against God. It rises up against God in a disobedience contrary to the obedience of Christ. Sin is an act contrary to reason. It wounds man's nature and injures human solidarity. The root of all sins lies in man's heart. The kinds and the gravity of sins are determined principally by their objects. To choose deliberately, that is, both knowing it and willing it, something gravely contrary to the divine law and to the ultimate end of man, is to commit a mortal sin. This destroys in us the charity without which eternal beatitude is impossible. Unrepented, it brings eternal death. Venial sin constitutes a moral disorder that is reparable by charity which it allows to subsist in us. The repetition of sins, even venial ones, engenders vices, among which are the capital sins.